We're going to kick it off and with opening comments, and we'll start with Joe West and then work our way.
West. I've lived in Tallahassee about 20-some years. Some of you may know me from the Veterans Day Parade here in Tallahassee that we reorganized in 2010. I'm running for mayor because I believe it's time to bring citizen legislators back into our political process. I have no political experience. This has never been a goal. I've got basically the tenets of what I'd like to see done is I would like to see our mayor job go away and go back to a rotating mayor. I would like to see our city divided up into 4 districts and have the person that represents that district verifiably live in that district for a minimum of 1 year. And I would also like to limit the amount of time that people serve on the commission to about 8 years. I think if you can't get whatever your ideas were done in 8 years, you're probably not going to get them done. Thank you.
Okay, John.
John will stand over the side of you real quick. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Daly. I just saw 2 of my colleagues, Bill Proctor and Nick Maddox, walk in. It's good to see you all. I'd like to take a second to introduce my wife of 20 years, Virginia Daly. I am running for mayor because I am ready to bring change to City Hall. First of all, for the past 12 years, I've had the opportunity to serve you on the Leon County Commission for District 3, and for that, I'm extremely humbled. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you. But I think that our community is at a crossroads, and I'm ready to step up to the plate and tackle the issues facing City Hall. Some of you know my record at the County Commission. What you might not know is my 22 years of professional experience on the private side working with municipalities from Seattle, Washington to Key West, Florida, with the Florida League of Cities, with the National League of Cities, and in 2005 I started my own business, JDA Strategies, which I still manage to this day. Both my master's degrees have a function specifically geared towards municipal governance. I've been preparing all my life for this role. I believe that this community is hungry for a mayor that is going to bring a very strong, positive change, but at the same time truly understands the role of the mayor in a council management form of government. We need a mayor that's going to help work collectively in a positive manner with the city commission, with the city manager, to bring about a vision to move us forward. We need to redefine who we are as a city by the services that we provide, and we need to move forward together as a community. We need a mayor that understands the function of municipal government, service by service, and I have the 22 years of experience. We need to bring back efficiencies. We need to look hard at our budget. We need to squeeze every penny out of those services that contribute to our quality of life. And finally, folks, we need accountability. It's time to restore public trust back into City Hall. I want to be your next mayor. My name is John Daly.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Justin Daniels, running for mayor. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Weeki Wachee, Florida. Came here to attend Florida State University. I have an interesting story about how I got here. I actually didn't know the difference between undergraduate and graduate school when I actually applied to college. And I applied lots of places as a graduate student. And I got a very nice letter back from Florida State University that basically said, we'd love to have you as a graduate student one day, but we think a 4-year degree may help you out. And so I appreciated the delicate way that that was handled, and ultimately it led me here to Florida State University. I've been in Tallahassee for the last 12 years collectively. I committed my graduate degree studies at the London School of Economics. I'm an economist by training. And for the last 4 years, I had the opportunity to serve as Chief of Staff to the Office of the Mayor, and I teach international economics and social policy at Florida State University. I want to talk a little bit about issues today. For me, this campaign is focused on 3 major ones: innovation, opportunity, and crime. Starting very, very quickly on innovation. I think for too long, this city has really just adopted an antiquated way of trying to promote economic development. It looked a little something like this: hold out some economic incentives, close our eyes, pray to God that maybe Amazon decides that it's coming to Tallahassee. Folks, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Amazon ain't coming. But the likelihood of us doubling down on our entrepreneurship community, our small business community, attempting to give those folks where the job creation is coming from anyway, giving those folks an opportunity to develop a regional footprint, a statewide footprint, or an international footprint. That is the way that we create economic opportunity in this community. On the issue of opportunity, I don't need to tell you all that we are one of the most economically segregated places in the country, right? We have a lot of work to do as it relates to this issue. For me, I walk, in the last several years, I talk with innovators and entrepreneurs and small business owners like yourselves who say we have jobs open today that pay a living wage and we just cannot find the talent to fill it. These are jobs that are not 4-year degree or 2-year degree, but that these individuals who are, we have jobs ready for people to go now. And ultimately, I thought it was 3 minutes, my bad. Well, I look forward to talking to about these issues moving forward. Thank you so much.
Okay. Carrie?
Hi everyone, I am Carrie Litherland, and I am running to be more than your mayor. I'm running to be our voice. I have lived here the majority of my life, and I have now decided to raise my 9-month-old daughter here in the community that I love. I have a deep passion for this city. This community built me into the person I am today, and I hope that Scarlett, my daughter, can experience the same thing that I did. I want her to grow in a safe environment. I want her to have all of the resources she needs to have a successful career, build a family, and maybe one day choose to retire here. And I want that for more than just her. I want it for all of us. So I offer a little bit of a unique perspective than these guys. I am a fresh face. I have a clean slate, I have a ton of energy, and I think that I have a true understanding of this community by being raised by it. I have 4 areas of focus that I want to address. The first, we need to trust our local government again, and as mayor, I want to lead the charge in regaining that trust from you guys. I think that we need a transparent budget process, and we need to have the strongest, most independent ethics commission that we've seen. Second, I want to build our economy around our small and local businesses. Tallahassee has proven that we not only love our small businesses, but that we thrive on our small business. And I think it's time that we start investing in us and not big corporations or big developers. To do that, we need to boost our economy by retaining our grads and incentivizing our retirees to come here. And they want the same things. They want affordable housing, they want a fun place to live and a livable lifestyle. Third is protecting us from the wrong type of growth and overdevelopment. And fourth is community policing, making sure that we have public safety initiatives like mental health resources and our children have a safe place to grow and learn.
That's it, Carrie. Thank you.
But good morning. I'm Norris Barr. I'm running for the position of mayor of this fine city called Tallahassee
Norris, would you grab that
City.
microphone?
My background is one of public administration, Florida International University, and communication arts from Michigan State University. I served as the economic development representative for the city of Fort Lauderdale before relocating to Tallahassee 18 years ago. I bring a wealth of knowledge and information that I feel can be helpful to Tallahassee being the best that it can be. I want to cast a vision for Tallahassee that includes community and us being neighbors instead of being separate. I want to cast a vision of being the best that I can be as a servant leader. I've not come for a job. I've come to make a difference in being a servant leader. I brought 3 businesses to the city of Fort Lauderdale, having been on a trade mission to Toronto, Canada. And I plan on doing the same thing if given the opportunity here in the city of Tallahassee. I want to bring businesses to the city and broaden their economic basis, tax basis. I also would like to see a hotel at our fantastic airport called the Tallahassee International Airport.
To be here, and many of you know me, and so I'm going to cut to the chase. On my website, my mission statement points are integrity, economic diversity, and resiliency. That's what this city needs. We need to grow into, my vision is that we grow into being the capital city of the 3rd largest state in the union. We have to take our place in that. Why I want to run is because you elected me. Maybe not everyone here in this room, but this community elected me to one of the best jobs I've ever had, was in the state legislature. My experience is broad and deep, and I know how to negotiate. My skill is asking tough, hard questions, as Barney Bishop would know because you've seen me in committee. We took thousands of votes over those years. I took over 1,000 votes every single session. And I want to bring that skill to bear in a gratefulness to this community. And so here I am offering myself as I have fresh ideas, I have experience. What I mean by integrity is that we need to bring trust back into local government. I was outside that group that is the local government people. They came in with lobbyists and asked for money. I hardly ever saw the local officials up in the Capitol. I'm very comfortable in the governor's suite. I'm very comfortable in the halls of the legislature. I have friends in Congress. I have friends around the country and across the pond. So I would like to bring those skills, those relationships, that knowledge to bear for
I
this.
think the CRA plays a very important role in Tallahassee if done correctly. I'm very proud of my vote to sunset the downtown CRA because I think the job's been done and it's time to move on. Now, I have not served on the CRA for over 8 years, but I've been watching how the CRA has been operating. The CRA plays a very important role in Frenchtown and South Side, and I do support it. But the original purpose of the CRA is to reinvest in the neighborhood, infrastructure. How can we expect the neighborhoods to rise up if the government does not believe in the neighborhood first and foremost? So I would take the CRA back to its original mission. I would reinvest in Frenchtown and the South Side neighborhoods and bring about economic development in that route. The CRA is not poised. That's the Office of Economic Vitality, which should be function primarily with economic development. The CRA is about reinvesting in the communities.
Thank you. Justin?
So I also believe that CRAs can be an extremely powerful tool for promoting economic development. But I agree that for the last several years, our local CRA has been in the business in some ways of promoting winners and losers, right? And in a free market system, having a CRA pushing different organizations or giving certain benefits to certain organizations to excel while not doing the same for everybody else, that's a problem, right? Because we end up seeing in certain places in our town where other businesses choose to relocate. And so for me, I do believe in the power of CRAs. I also believe that other communities who are competing with us to promote economic development are also utilizing their CRAs as well. If you look at the infrastructure in our community, it's been extremely inequitable the way that we have distributed public dollars. There are roads in Frenchtown, for instance, where if 2 cars pass at the same time, they would sideswipe each other. Yet we consistently and continuously talk about college dormitories and college housing. I think now is the time to pivot into the things that CRAs are supposed to do, focus on infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, Carrie?
So like so many good things, they become monsters themselves. And I think that we have seen that with our current CRA. We have seen it blossom into something that it was not supposed to be. 12 years ago, the Frenchtown residents got together and came up with a plan of the things they wanted. And instead of listening to them, we decided that we knew best. That we were going to push the initiatives we thought would push their economic development. What they wanted was simple. They wanted complete sidewalks, safe lighting because most of them walk from work to home. They wanted affordable housing. And when they asked for affordable housing, they did not ask for student housing. They asked for home ownership. They wanted to be able to have the same pride the majority of us in this room have of owning a home. And it doesn't have to be a big home. They wanted something that they could raise their family in safely. So I think that when we take away the umbrella of what we have seen the CRA be now and focus on what the community wants, we'll see the right
Thank you,
actions
Carrie.
happening.
Howard?
I have a vested interest in the CRA. I have a vested interest in the CRA being that I'm a resident of the South Side. So I would like to see it go back to its original intent for the South Side residents and for those in Frenchtown.
I don't like the CRA form of doing things with the city. We need direct accountability to the city commissioners. Perhaps if we had single member districts with the city commission, we might not need CRAs. There are other ways to do economic development. One is work with the State Department of Economic Development, also Enterprise Florida. We don't do that here. One of the reasons why we have not done that here is because there's been a tension between the city government, county government, and whoever has been governor and who runs those agencies. I don't see that we have those relationships. We just need to have relationships with the folks that then can bring the money in, and it doesn't have to be all ours. And we also need to have city commissioners that are accountable directly to the people. One of the things I've done in the past couple of months is I've talked to the governor's office and the governor about maybe talking to Delta about having a mini hub here. So there are other ways to do it.
The CRA suffers from probably the 7 most dangerous words any of us have ever heard, and that is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The CRA is a great idea. I agree with John. In its original intent, it was a wonderful, wonderful idea. If we're going to continue with the CRA, it needs to be taken back to basics. We need to re-examine the CRA along with every other vendor and contractor that the city does business with, and make sure that we're doing the best we can for the citizens of Tallahassee. Thank you.
What would be your top priority as mayor?
So my top priority would be crime. I mean, it's no secret that we're once again #1 in crime for the 3rd straight year. I think that our law enforcement officials have done an incredible job to try to wrangle this problem. We've seen violent crime go down, but we still have an issue here. To me, I think that we need to continuously give the resources that law enforcement needs to continue to do the job. But more than that, I also think that we need a plan for the folks who are formerly incarcerated when they return to our community. And I always tell folks, I care very little about how you get there on this issue, right? Maybe you just believe in the fundamental dignity of a person who pays their debt to society, who returns back to the community, and ought to be able to have a way to make a way for themselves and their families. But if you don't agree with any of that, look at the money that we're wasting year after year. There are literally think groups and summits that different partners like the Koch brothers and the Florida Democratic Party are coming together on this issue because it's not a partisan one. And so for me, we have 1,000 individuals who are returning into our community in the next 18 months, whether we like it or not. 70% of them will commit a crime within 3 years. Let's focus on helping that population of people do better in our community.
Thank you, Justin. Carrie?
So my first and biggest priority, like I said earlier, is regaining that trust. As a voter myself, I have lost trust in my own government, my own local authority, and I want to regain that trust as a mayor. I think that we need to look at the budget, make it completely transparent. As you know, I am not someone who deals with this stuff on a day-to-day basis, so when I had to study for this exam, for this candidacy, we were looking at the budgets that were provided online, and there was not much available. There are pie charts. You can click on them and see how much was funded to a certain category, but not exactly what was being funded. So for me, taking that budget line by line, letting the voters see exactly where their money is being spent, why we made those decisions, and if they were funded before, why we're doing it again. And the second thing is taking that budget, starting from the ground up. We need to make sure that first, our basic services are being funded. That's our TPD, our fire department, our utilities, and our airport, and I'm out of time, but I hope we can talk this later.
My response would be transparency/ethics. I think that there needs to be more transparency involving City Hall, and I also think that the current ethics board needs more power, more teeth in the statutes that are already there, and that will help give us better government.
Crime, corruption, cronyism, I think they're all connected, and I think I would start with cronyism. I think what you see when you look at the city government, local government, is a certain kind of cronyism that I think when people in the neighborhoods see that, they wonder about it. And then I think not modeling good behavior at the top, not having leadership that is above reproach in all ways, I think then trickles down. And so I think cronyism, corruption, those are the two, and I think that would help crime, but certainly crime. I want to tell you one of the things that I would first start with is making sure that the Form 1 is replaced with the Form 6 that we had to do in the Florida legislature. Form 6 requires absolute disclosure of everything, and I'd like to pass this out. This is my Form 1 and my Form 6 that is filled out, and you can see the difference. Form 1 asks for very superficial information. Form 6 asks for everything that you are invested in and do.
Thank
and I
you,
think
Michelle.
that's where you can see conflict of interest.
My priority would be, chromeism would be one, but the priority is we need to make sure that we're getting the best value for our dollars. We need to make sure that when we hire employees, they're the best qualified person for that job. They're not my cousin. We also need to make sure that we check our vendors and make sure that we're not doing favors for people. I'm very proud of the fact that I have about 5 people on my campaign staff. None of them are looking for a city consulting contract, nor are any of them interested in opening a restaurant.
This is one of those. This is one of those issues where the majority of us agree. Public trust, first and foremost. I mean, when we talk about crime, I look at the men and women of Tallahassee Police Department. How can I trust you to run out and fight crime each and every day if you don't trust me in City Hall? How can I trust a firefighter to run into a building if you don't trust me to begin with? And as citizens, how can you trust us to do the right thing if there's no public trust, period? Michelle's right. Absolutely correct. Financial disclosure forms have to be changed. For 12 years, you can go and research down to the penny debts and assets of any county commissioner and member of the legislature. It should be done on the city level as well. Day one, we need to move the podium back to the front of the City Hall chambers and allow and encourage people to participate in their government. We need to get rid of the policy that puts the time limit on how many people can speak at meetings. We need to encourage people to get involved with their local government. We need to do a complete audit of every company and registered lobbyist doing business with the city of Tallahassee, and we need to create a zero gift policy from the mayor's office down.
Thank you, John. The first yes/no question is, are you willing to support a city charter review commission to relook at our city charter? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Okay, here we go again. Are you willing to support a citizens budget committee that would have the opportunity to make recommendations on trimming expenses in the city's budget? Joe?
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
Yes.
Heck yes.
You guys are sure you haven't colluded in all of this? Okay, third question, and we're going to start from this end, Michelle. Would you be supportive of electing city commissioners based on defined district lines versus citywide?
Yes, I've already said so. Yes.
Yours?
Yes.
If the voters want it, yes.
Yes, with an asterisk.
Yes, if it passed charter.
Yes, without an asterisk.
All right, so number 4, and we'll start with you, John. Would you be willing to put in place an independent airport authority in lieu of our present system?
I don't think you can answer an independent airport authority on a yes/no answer, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, next.
I agree with John.
Okay,
I would also have to agree with that. It's just too much.
all right, Doris?
I would have to really study the issue, but yes.
Yes, I already filed a bill a number of years ago to do such a thing.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes too. Number 5, would you be willing to explore the potential of selling the city utilities? Let's start with Dustin.
No.
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 Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
No with an asterisk. These are huge issues, folks, that you can't just answer yes or no. I mean, are we talking about generational? Are we talking about transmission?
Okay.
His question was explore.
The question is this: do you support placing the Children's Services Council language on the ballot in 2018, 2020, or not at all? Michelle, we're going to start with you.
Not at all.
Putting it on the ballot in 2020.
Okay?
Yes, I agree with 2020.
At this point, 2020, I wish it was 2018.
I have voted in favor of 2020.
Joe?
As I've seen it so far, not at all.
Okay? Okay, well, listen, we're going to wrap this up with closing remarks, and we're going to start with you, Michelle, and go down to Joe. You have 1 minute for what you'd like to say.
Okay, one job I didn't put in there was lifeguard. I was a lifeguard at a very cold lake in upstate New York, and also the YMCA when I was young. I want to serve because I think this town needs a lot of work right now, and I'm ready to get to work and do that and bring what I have to bear on those problems. We have a crime problem. We have a problem with utilities. We can't bring more business in. We can't bring retirees in if we don't get our crime problems figured out, if we don't keep the lights on every single day. Because when you bring retirees in, they want to make sure that the air conditioning's on. When you bring businesses in, they don't want to be down 7 and 10 days for a less than hurricane category 1. And so those are the things we must work on in order to make sure that then we have the economic development and the other things that this town so greatly needs. Thank you.
Thank you. And Peggy, it's 1 minute. Thank you.
1 minute, Peggy.
Oh. I'm sorry.
You're all right. You did 55 seconds.
No,
You all go ahead. Go ahead.
I can't do 1 minute.
Thank you for the opportunity of inviting me. I've enjoyed this chance to share my experience. Education puts me in a unique position to serve, and that's what I want to do. I have no other political agenda but to serve Tallahassee. That's what I know how to do. Having been in ministry over 20 years, I'm a servant. I know how to serve. I know how to lead. With regard to my background in economic development, I will do exactly what I promised you I would do, is bring businesses to this fine city. I will rule with transparency, and everyone will be at the table. I will do that for you.
Thank you.
These were great questions today. Thank you so much for having me. I jumped in this race for 2 reasons. Apparently, when you have a child, your life dramatically changes, your perspective changes, and the passion I had for the city turned into a need for action. I felt that I needed to participate, I needed to make changes, and I needed to ensure that my daughter had the best opportunity in our home and that our home was the best place for her. The second thing that made me jump in was listening to my neighbors in Levy Park discuss the issues that they were having, not being heard over and over and over again for years and years. And I felt that we needed somebody who not only knew this city, understood this city, but was willing to actually listen to us and regain our trust.
So I don't have to tell you all that this is an extremely critical election for our community. Whether we like it or not, there's going to be 3 new faces on that city commission dais coming up here after this election cycle. And that could be an extremely beneficial thing for our community, or it could be more of the same of what we've seen. I have worked, again, as a city employee for the last 4 years, clocking in and clocking out. I've worked with nonprofit organizations at the grassroots level. I was there again at the Emergency Operations Center. I was there creating policies with our policymakers, and I see the problems. I see our opportunity moments, and I see that we have essentially allowed for platitudes and interests in our community distract us from the real issues that we see. I'm not beholden to anybody in this community other than the voters and the people that, quite frankly, I am asking for their vote. Ultimately, what I would like to see is a city that is using more academics, more data, more innovation in the way that we make decisions. And I promise you that I'm not running for mayor because I was told that it was my turn, or because I was told that I was anointed by the local interest in our community. I'm doing it because I think it's the right thing to do.
And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for throwing your questions out and letting us answer them. For the past 12 years, I have had the dubious honor of serving as a county commissioner, and I thank you. But I'm ready to step up to the plate and tackle the issues at City Hall, and we need strong leadership. Look, it's going to probably get worse before it gets better, and I think we all know that. That's the elephant in the room. Our community has been plagued for the past 4 years with problem after problem after problem. We need a fresh face, which I do bring, but we also need experienced leadership. I'm the only candidate that has 12 years of experience on the local level, 22 years of experience in municipal government on the private side. And like Carrie, I'm from Tallahassee. Many of y'all raised me in this room. You might not agree with every single issue or vote, but you know the kind of leadership that you're going to get with John Daly. I'm asking for your vote, and I want to be your next mayor. Thank you.
Again, thank you all for having me. This has been my second outing here to NEBA. You all are, in my opinion, the backbone of what makes this community work. You're the business leaders. You're the ones that are creating jobs. We need to look at several things. One of the things I'd like to see is an amnesty program for city employees that maybe have not been doing the right thing, so that they can come forward and say, I was doing this and I was told to. There's a lot of things going on in this town that need to be looked at. We need to review the way we do business. I told you earlier, this has never been a goal of mine. I'm not a politician. I have no desire to be a career politician. All I want to do is I want to make a difference. I want to see our city change direction and go in the way a city this size should be going, so that everybody has an equal say. Somebody wants to donate to my campaign, that's fine. You don't need to do that. If I'm the mayor and you got a good idea for Tallahassee, call me. I'll be more than happy to listen.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead and give these guys a round of applause. Thank you all for coming, candidates and candidates in the room as well. On behalf of myself and NEBA, we want to thank you all for putting yourselves out there running for office.